Attorney Nate Amendola, criminal law in plain English. The question today is, can charges be dropped at the arraignment in Massachusetts? Okay, the answer to this is yes, but it depends. And it's generally sort of a hard thing to get. Number one, it depends on the type of offense. It depends on the who or what the prior criminal record of the alleged defendant is. As you can imagine, if somebody's got no record, that's going to be a little bit easier to get charges dismissed or dropped prior to arraignment. If somebody's got a lengthy criminal record or really any criminal record at all, that's going to make it difficult. Here's what you need to know about this. Generally speaking, there's two ways to get into court like this. There's an arrest or an application for criminal complaint with a summons. What that means is that it's the police pretty much. There is an exception to this. You can make a private citizen complaint, but we're going to leave that aside for the moment. It's ultimately the decision of the complainant or the police, the person that submits the application for criminal complaint, on whether or not to charge somebody. And as a practical matter, the police arrest, they're going to submit an application for criminal complaint. And at that point, it's being reviewed by a magistrate prior to either the clerk magistrate's hearing or the arraignment. And then once it issues, it's going to go both to the clerk's office, who's going to be handing it to the judge's lobby, and then to the district attorney. So once it issues, the choice now is pretty much with the district attorney. Sometimes you might get a police prosecutor involved. As a practical matter, especially in district court, many of the decisions, charging decisions, are not made by what we call line ADAs. Those are generally assistant district attorneys who are just starting out and new to the job. Many of the charging decisions, or whether to not charge somebody, is typically handled by the lead or the chief of district courts. And there needs to be a really good reason why somebody shouldn't be arraigned, or why charges should be dropped. A lot of times, especially in a domestic violence situation, the complainant or the person who called the police wants to, the next day at court, wants to drop the charges, so to speak. A lot of, they may go up and talk to the district attorney or talk to the victim advocate. Sometimes that works, but a lot of the times that falls on deaf ears, and the individual, the defendant, is arraigned, and then things sort of work themselves out, hopefully, once the case is arraigned. But there's no law that says you can't drop something, or that the district attorney can decline to charge somebody prior to arraignment. It just is a practical matter. It doesn't really happen very often. And unfortunately, in juvenile court, you can file a motion to dismiss. It's called an Umberto H motion prior to arraignment, which is really nice, because if somebody wins that somebody wins that motion, there's not going to be an arraignment. There is no such rule or case law in adult court. So and the judge has absolutely no authority not to arraign somebody or not to drop the charges. It is solely within the discretion and the jurisdiction of the district attorney's office, with sometimes some input from a police prosecutor, and maybe they'll listen to the alleged victim. But so the short answer in plain English is yes, charges can be dropped prior to arraignment. The practical answer is that it's pretty difficult, but possible. And that's one of the things that a private attorney can deal with, because once a private attorney gets involved in a case, they can start talking to the district attorney prior to the arraignment. The issue with appointed cases or public defenders is an indigent defendant does not get appointed a public defender until the time of an arraignment. So it can be a little bit difficult to negotiate pre-arraignment dispositions with a public defender. Not impossible, but that's how that works. Criminal Law in Plain English. I'm attorney Nate Amendola.